friends, welcome back to Mrs. Borton's Basement. We have our lesson for this week on a new concept called suffix ed, and you're probably saying, what is a suffix? So we're going to talk about that first. A suffix is a little part of a word, a little part that's added to a word, and because it's added to the word, it will help that word change its meaning. It gives it meaning to the word. So our suffix this week that we're talking about is the ed at the end of a base word or a root word. So I've got a little chant for us here, and I know my screen kind of goes on and off and it might be a little tricky to see, but it's down here and you're welcome to go to the communication hub and just pull up that slide and view the slides as well. So you can watch the video and take a look at the slides, and that might help you if you're having trouble seeing it on the video. But the chant has this great visual. You'll see it'll have a root word, and ed shows up at the end of a root word. So my chant looks like this. When you see ed at the end of, and I'm going to pull my weed up too so I can get to the roots. When you see ed at the end of a root word, it says d, duh, or t, t, or ed, id. Yeah, so that's it. When you see ed at the end of a root word, it makes three sounds. It says d, duh, or t, t, or ed, id. So ed at the end of this base word gives it meaning, and it means it already happened. It happened in the past. Ed, I did it already. So we need to talk a little bit about verbs as well. So a verb is an action word. So we're going to put ed at the end of this action word or this verb in your sentence so that it happened yesterday or a few minutes ago or sometime in the past. So you could jump. I can jump right now, but you could have jumped yesterday. I could walk, but I could have walked yesterday. I might fish in my pond, but yesterday I might have fished in my pond. Okay? So let's take a look at how this works. All right, so we talked about there are three ways to make this sound, and let's start with the first sound. If it sounds like id at the end of your base word, you're going to hear that sound when a word ends with a d, duh, or a t, t. So let's take a look at some of those words. Here's an action word. I could land in the airplane, so I could land right now, but yesterday I might have landed. Did you hear that id sound? Landed. I landed in the airplane. All right, let's take a look at another action word. Melt. We don't have any snow right now because it's spring, but let's say that maybe an ice cube in your drinking glass would melt right now. It would melt. But a few minutes ago, it might have melted. Melted. Did you hear that id sound? Awesome. Here's another action word. Weld. You might not know what weld means, but it is something that is you could be a welder, and a welder takes some really hot fire, and they take two pieces of metal and they melt with that fire. They melt the metal and they connect those two pieces of metal, and that's called weld. So that you could weld two pieces of metal right now, but yesterday you might have welded. Did you hear that id? Welded the metal together. Here's our last word that we're going to look at on this page for the id sound. Dust. You might have had some chores around your house, and maybe right now you're going to dust the house. But maybe an hour ago you dusted. Dusted. So we're going to be listening for those tricky sounds at the end of the word because sometimes people hear that when they're writing their sentences, but they're not sure what to do with it. So now you know, if you hear the id sound added to the end of a word, you're just going to be writing ed. Ed. Good. All right, let's go on to the next sound. If ed at the end of a root word makes the d sound, d, we're going to hear that on words that end with a voiced sound. Now, a voiced sound is when your throat, you can feel that vibration right here on your throat. Take 2 fingers and make a sound like, oh, make the L sound, oh. Did you feel that vibration? So we're gonna be looking for ending sounds that has the vibration on it. All right, let's take a look at our first verb or our first action word. Buzz, buzz. Right now the bee will buzz in my ear. But in the past, he might have buzzed right by me. Buzzed. Did you hear that ed at the end of that root word that made the d sound? All I did was add ed to this verb to make it happen in the past, but this one sounded like the d. Good. By the way, I didn't tell you this, but when you see these virgles, that's a word. Those are 2 lines that go around a letter, and that means that's what the sound makes of that letter. Good. They're just sound lines. All right, here's our next verb, fill. You might fill your bucket with dirt right now, but maybe a few minutes ago we put that ed that sounds like a duh. Filled your bucket. Did you hear that? A lot of my friends, when they first learn to spell, they will hear that sound and they'll just put a D on the end of the word because they're doing a great job sounding out. But now that we're getting towards the end of the year, the end of the school year, we need to start thinking about that D sound is actually the ED that's making it happen in the past. All right, today I yell, yesterday I yelled. Because that is voice sound, we're going to make the D sound, yelled. And then here's our last one. It's a 2-syllable words, button. Button has a voice sound, button. You might button up your coat, but a few minutes ago to go out and play, you might have buttoned up your coat. Awesome. So those were some of our verbs that had the D sound. We've got one more. Do you remember what it was? When you see ED at the end of the root word, it says D, D, or T, T. Let's take a look at our T sounds. Now these are words that end with an unvoiced. And unvoiced means the letter sound at the end of this word is just breath. Like sh, or p, or let's take a look at some of our verbs. You might have given your grandma a kiss. Right now we're staying away, we're kind of distancing, so maybe just give your teddy bear a kiss. But last night before you went to bed, maybe you gave your teddy bear, maybe you kissed your teddy bear. Did you hear that ED at the end of kiss? It was that S with S. So we had to make that ED sound like T, kissed. Awesome. Jump. P. That P at the end P, was unvoiced. Today I jump. Yesterday I jumped. Good. Crash. I hope you don't crash your bike today, but maybe sometime in the past when you were learning to ride your bike, maybe you crashed. I heard that ED making that T sound. A lot of my friends, when they first learn to spell, will put a T at the end because they do hear that ED making the T sound, and that's good sounding out. But now that we're getting older, we're going to learn that that ED is what's making the T sound. And we're going to write crashed with a T. I mean, not with a T, with an ED. All right, our last word is help. P. There's that P, that unvoiced sound. Today I will help set the table. Yesterday I helped to set the table. Awesome. All right, that ends our lesson today on the suffix ed at the end of a root word or a base word that makes the 3 sounds. It can say d, duh, or t, t, or ed, id. Awesome. Thanks for joining me. You guys have a terrific day.